Das König-Abdullah-Zentrum ist 2011 als internationale Organisation von Österreich, Saudi-Arabien, Spanien und dem Vatikan gegründet worden. Es hat seinen Sitz auf der Wiener Ringstraße und es hat sich dem interreligiösen Dialog verschrieben. Das heißt, es fördert Initiativen, die den Kontakt zwischen Religionsgemeinschaften verstärken sollen. Allerdings steht das Zentrum seit seiner Gründung immer wieder in Kritik, zuletzt wegen dem brutalen Mord am saudischen Journalisten Jamal Khashoggi. Erst vor kurzem hat die Opposition im Parlament einen Antrag auf Schließung des Zentrums eingebracht. Um über die Kontroverse zu diskutieren, haben wir jetzt zu uns ins Studio den Metropoliten der griechischen Orthodoxie in Frankreich, seine Eminenz Emmanuel Adamakis, eingeladen. Er ist im Direktorium des Zentrums Repräsentant der orthodoxen Kirche. Thank you so much for being with us, Your Eminence.
Thank you, and it's a great pleasure to be with you and to have also those who are watching us at this time.
So my first question would be about your work, because there's always this accusation that the center is not transparent enough. So I'd like to ask you, of course, we know your mission is to facilitate interreligious dialogue, but I would like to ask you what that translates to in practice, and can you describe some of the projects that your center is working on?
Yes, thank you. We are, I'm not alone, of course, as you said, there are 9 members on the board of directors, and we are helping the center in the implementation of the twofold of its mission, the intercultural and interreligious dialogue. So we've been doing that for 6 years now, since the establishment of the CAICID International Dialogue Center in Vienna. And we are very proud, first of all, to be in Vienna, to be in Austria, and to be doing this from Vienna. It's very important from this center, from the city that offers the space for so many international organizations, and in the same sense, we're looking at the CAICID as one of these international organizations. We are very proud also to count Austria as a founding member of the center, so we are not foreigners. And our work that initiated, as I said, some years ago, it started actually with a meeting in Spain, interreligious meeting, and then the meeting of the late King of Saudi Arabia and the Pope in Rome at that time. And then it didn't open. The center did not just open up its doors all of a sudden. There was a preliminary stage of work before that.
Right. So if I understand it correctly, you facilitate meetings between religious leaders, or
absolutely.
Could you give us more concrete examples of projects that the center does?
Absolutely. We have meetings in Austria, on the local level, on the regional level, on European. We have done also in different European cities.
When you say meetings, what exactly happens at those meetings?
Well, conferences. We open up a meeting could be anything, a meeting with 2 people. A dialogue is always with someone that you are talking to. Our purpose is to be open, transparent, and doing that on a continuous basis.
Okay.
So these conferences, it's one-fold. The long, let's say, reach-out process is, for example, when we are facilitating the dialogue in the Central African Republic, in Myanmar, for instance, in the Middle East, in the area of the Middle East, bringing together Muslims and Christians in the Middle East, dealing also with youth, with the social media, and how this we can put it in the right way with the youth. Mm-hmm. So you see that we are covering a vast area of what really social society needs tomorrow, civil society needs tomorrow, okay. Today and tomorrow. We are caring about the other. We are not excluding. but we're rather doing something that is inclusive, and we are trying to reach out to everyone,
right,
everyone of goodwill.
So organizing dialogue between members of different religious
yes.
communities. Can I ask you, are there any activities of the center that focus on the dialogue between Shia and Sunni Muslims?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we do not exclude. We are having Sunni members and Shia members within the board of directors, but also at the advisory forum that we have. And also we are open. You know, if we go in the Middle East, you obviously have Muslim and Shia present. And we are facilitating this dialogue. This is we are not pretending that it's the center that does that. Of course, this dialogue goes on for years now. But we are helping, as I said, in order to put some of the issues and to have the reaction from everyone.
So the dialogue between Sunni and Shia Muslims is covered as much as any other?
Absolutely, absolutely. We work on that in the same way that we work to bring the other religious representatives and the different groups together.
All right.
The dialogue also that took place a few just months ago with the Muslim and Jewish leaders here.
Right.
It's another very good example and a very prominent one.
I'd like to move on to the financing of the center because you said your aim is to be open and transparent. I'm going to quote from the establishing agreement of the center. The resources of the center include voluntary contributions by parties and observers, contributions and donations from other sources, and other income inter alia accruing from contributions. My question would be, can you give me numbers? How high are these voluntary contributions by each party, by each founding member? Well, in percentages or in...
I think there are numbers, and you can check it, obviously, with the center. We are very open into that. The question is that, yes, we have the majority of the funds coming from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. If there are other funds from other countries, they are very welcome from the founding members. But we are also working with funds because when we have an event that we sponsor, we have also other sources from other international organizations, from the UNDP, from the United Nations. So we do not exclude anything else.
But the majority of the money comes from
Saudi Arabia. The majority, yes, this is true because the center needed to exist. The center was established, as we said, with this agreement with the countries that were the founding members. Now the countries have to contribute as well. And this is something that it's in the agreement. We cannot push, but we need to go on. I think the purpose of doing the dialogue is very important, and we have to look into this. This is not, and I said exclusively, we are looking for funds. We are looking also to have more members in the Council of Parties, and we're looking for the enlargement of the participation of the countries. So in the purpose that we are not just depending on one state, but also having the possibility of others to participate.
Now, of course, I looked into this, and there's no detailed budget on your website like most international organizations would have, like the UN or the IAEA have. Why don't you have that?
I think this is a question rather to be asked to the Council of Parties that participate. We are not dealing with finances as a board of directors, and we are not covering this aspect. But I think you really also need to ask the other member states that are participating in this organization in the way that they can participate and they can be also bind with their mission from the very beginning. This is, I really don't want to go into details with the numbers. The question is that what we see is that we need certainly more funds in order to fulfill our mission. And certainly we need also more people to be engaged in this framework of the dialogue.
Mm-hmm. So, as you said, Saudi Arabian money is your main source of income because dialogue, religious dialogue, is very important, and because the mission of the center is so important, and because it needed to exist. Would you say that any of the activities, any of the projects that you're doing now, if they're so important, why can't you rally support from other countries? Are there any of them that could not exist without Saudi Arabian money? Why not say, you know, if openness and integrity is important to you, why not say, we're going to look for other sources of funding and we're going to make this our priority?
We're not, I said that we are not binded with the money that we have. For example, we are looking to have also other income. And I said when we go and do a joint project with other international organizations, would not exclude their participation and the money that is there, the fund that is there. We are not, binded with one source in our income only.
So if Saudi Arabia were to pull out all its money tomorrow, the center would still be functional?
I think yes, because we're getting more mature. The center is, well known in the United Nations, for example. We had events at the UN. We had an event last May, for instance, with Caritas International. Mm-hmm. And the center is very well known worldwide.
So if you could do it without their money, why do it with their money?
Well, because we should not exclude an initiative that came from the four members. You should not just think that because this country, in the same way, you should not accept any money that comes at the UN because there are members that you do not want to have them there, but you do have them. So I think we should look on a long-term basis and should see that the money is not there to cover anything. But we are using, and the question is not money. I'm not an economist, and I have not come here to change this. But we are really looking for the benefit of this center. Mm-hmm. And the center has one role, is to bring people together of the different religious communities.
Yeah, so I mean, the reason I'm asking all of these questions is obviously because in Austria, the main fear, the main criticism is that this money could be used to fund extreme Islam, to fund Wahhabism. Can you say with certainty that that is not happening?
Well, I am one of the examples that I'm not a Wahhabi.
No, of course not. But can you say with certainty?
Nobody has changed.
Of course not. But that none of this money is going towards any effort that would fund a certain type of Islam above.
No, I think I fully understand the question, and I can tell you that this money, it's very transparent the way that goes. The member states have a control as a council of parties of the finance of the center, and we are not financing any illegal or whatever type of activities. The purpose of the CAICID International Dialogue Center is to fulfill its mission on dialogue, in any form of dialogue that's going on with the different religious communities, and I said on a local, on a regional, and international level. So this is the purpose, and this is where we have our activities. As I said, we are spreading, we are going around the globe, and we are well known in Africa. We are well known also in Asia, and we're well known in Europe and the Middle East.
But what is so important about your work that people couldn't meet if you weren't there? Like, what exactly, can you specify what it is that your projects help achieve? You know, like, why is it so important for you to intervene for religious communities to come together?
Yeah, because, you cannot obviously cover everything. But we have, throughout these years, formed 140 people in education of religious dialogue, interreligious dialogue.
140.
40, yes. We are having the fellows every year, 25 or 30 people from different regions that come, and for 1 year they are at the center or in touch with the center with different activities, and they become the ambassadors of the interreligious dialogue for the future. And we are having also all those people who have been in touch with the different conferences, with the different projects that are benefiting from this contact. We are facilitating the dialogue. We're not trying to promote anything, but to bring those people together. Obviously, the countries, we should not just relate, and don't think that we should have just one country to cover everything. It's impossible. We need others to join forces. And I think this is a perfect example of an organization that is there to help.
Is this a priority of the center to get more countries to join so that you won't be as reliant on a single member state?
I think, yes, it's one of the priorities, I would say, because there are many countries that have asked to be members.
Which ones?
Japan, Canada, Indonesia. So,
is there a process that's currently happening for them to?
Yes, this is a process that goes through the Council of Parties. So the countries that are the founding members, they have to examine and to come to an agreement with the prospective, members.
So when do you think Japan and Indonesia and Canada are going to join?
I think this really depends on the Council of Parties. They are meeting soon, and I think they will look at these questions. And we are, as a board of directors, we said that we are fully in agreement for such an enlargement.
Right. Has anything at all about your work changed at the center since Mohammed bin Salman was appointed crown prince in Saudi Arabia?
Well, I would say that a change in a country and does not really affect the work in the center. Okay. We are not, looking in the political change in Austria or in Spain. What we are looking is that the founding countries really take the center seriously. Right. Our mission is independent of what's going on in one country member.
Mm-hmm. I have one last question that I would have actually liked to ask your Secretary General, but I'm going to ask you. So the center is led by Secretary General Faisal bin Muammar, who has also held various high-ranking government positions in Saudi Arabia and who is or was an advisor to King Salman. Do you personally believe that it is honest to run a center on interreligious dialogue while simultaneously having massively benefited from and advising a dictatorial, oppressive, violent government?
Well, I would not approve any kind of wording about, as I said, a country. I'm not here for that. And first of all, I would say that I'm not going to use any of the adjectives about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia government.
So you don't think it's oppressive?
No, I'm just commenting on what you just said. To comment on what our Secretary General, who was appointed, as I said, by the Council of Parties. It was not our job to appoint him. He's there for his second term. So if there was any question, I think that would be a question to the Council of Parties and not to me or to the other members of the board.
But you're here, so I'm asking you.
Absolutely. No, but I'm very open to these questions, and I'm very open and transparent to my thought. I think that here we're not to say who and why, but we are here to say that dialogue can go on using the resources we have, and also implementing on everyday basis the work that we have to do on the local level. Here we need the dialogue. And I think that the job of a Secretary General is certainly to oversee what the center is doing, but the programs are run by a department. The Council of Parties is doing his job. The board of directors are those that are really the ones that following, approving these programs.
Yeah. I mean, my question wasn't on the administrative. It was more of a moral yes or no sort of. Do you believe that it's moral to profess to profess to dialogue and to interreligious sort of a coming together when at the same time you're advising?
I would put it in another way. When they came and asked and told Jesus told about Jesus that something good is coming out of Nazareth. They said, "Is something good coming out of Nazareth?" And that was Jesus that came out of Nazareth. Is something good can come out of Saudi Arabia? I would say yes. And this is Kai said.
I think those are the perfect closing words. Thank you so much
Thank you
for joining us.
Thank you.